I'm Eve Stevens, editor of Movement.net, and I'm here at Move 2026 speaking to some of the inspiring voices leading the auto tech industry through their innovation and imagination. I have the pleasure of being joined today by Vivetha Natterjee, Head of Autonomous Product and Deployment at Bolt. First things first, Vivetha, how has your Move 2026 experience been so far?
It's great, I must say. And the diversity of people from tech, from industry, from bureaucrats that are here, it's brilliant. The conversation has been flowing since dinner yesterday and also today, back-to-back meetings. And so it's all worthwhile. It's great.
Absolutely. Well, that's what we like to hear. When we're thinking about these kind of industry events, why do you see these kind of collaborative cross-industry events as so important for accelerating innovation?
Oh, for me personally, there are two reasons. One is that we are in the startup mode in Bolt on autonomous and everything. We have a lot of ideas which turn into strategy, looking at our partnership, vision and stuff. But it's important to get those validated as well. It's fantastic to understand all the perspective that we get from the industry, from different voices, established tech industry, startups everywhere. So that's why Move is also with their startup founding and so on. It's very interesting. That's the first thing. The second thing is also to build partnership, because there are so many new players coming into this with the right intention, could be the right mix for you. And Europe is like that. It's all about integrating the right partners together to be able to see the big picture. So those are the two reasons I go for.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in such a digital world, it's so important to kind of get people in the room, speaking to one another, and the kind of partnerships that they can forge is really, really kind of second to none. So I want to talk a little bit about Bolt, of course. I know you took part in a speech this morning that was very well attended, I've heard. Unfortunately, I missed it. Can you give an idea to our listeners of some of the kind of key ideas, topics? What was the kind of key message maybe coming out of that discussion?
Oh, I think there is a general, not misconception, but urgency towards let's find the right vehicle, let's find the right ADS stack that is AI driven. Let's put it together. The vehicle is out there for robotaxi. But we see it in a different perspective. We want to be able to operate this at the end. So the ecosystem where these vehicles deployed and are safe and insurable, that they are trustworthy for the community, for the citizens of Europe, those are more important. And if you see it from that perspective, 5-10 years down the line, the software and the vehicle is going to become a commodity. What's more critical is the operations. That's what it will scale. So if you combine these two perspectives, you can solve the big picture. It's not just about robotaxi anymore. It's about autonomous mobility. You're solving the traffic safety issues in Europe. You're solving the driver shortage issue in Europe, not just introducing a tech to the world. That was part of my speech this morning. A lot of focus on regulation, how fragmented it is, but how Europe is trying to cope up and build strength amongst global players as well. So yeah, I believe it went well.
Absolutely. No, I've heard really, really good things. I think obviously you brought up there AI, and I think AI is such a kind of buzzword in the industry, as in many, to be fair, over the last kind of few years, and especially now. You're kind of speaking about the importance of thinking more kind of holistically about safety. How do you kind of see AI and the relationship between safety? How are you prioritizing safety in autonomous operations at Bolt?
Okay, AI and automation or autonomous vehicle, it's a beautiful time that we live, I must say, because the first wave of autonomous happened a few years ago. It was sort of the wave of autonomous vehicles. And now, when the second wave of autonomous is happening, two things are aligned. One is Europe has the right single market regulation that's in place that can guide us through. The second is the agentic AI wave is happening at the same time, which sort of helps us in the scaling issue. Previously, it took a year's worth of driving around, collecting data to ensure that we can even build a stack that can work for this market. And then you go for regulation and so on. Today with AI, what has happened, what has escalated is that this time that it requires to collect data and to build and perform safe enough has reduced drastically. We had speech from Stellantis Wave this morning saying that within a month they were able to go into a new market. This is brilliant. However, and the catch here, and I used to work for Volvo, so I believe safety is my muscle memory. So if you look at automation with AI with those lenses, it's good that yes, AI will reduce this time to build the software, to have a performing software. However, to prove safety is a different story. You need to be able to have those data. You need to be able to, not just the long tails, but you need to be able to smart and please utilize AI to be able to prove safety as well. Utilize AI to also bring regulations into some kind of harmony. All those things can happen with AI, but if we believe that AI is here to, oh, now autonomous vehicles should be out there, no, I think we still have time to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's kind of, understanding the limitations of tech and not being always just completely kind of, I guess, bowled over by something, but rather making sure that things are proved, and safety is definitely paramount. Apart from the safety case, which obviously you're trying to prove at Bolt, what do you see as another kind of key benefit of automation and autonomy for the consumer?
Oh, I see it like this. Robotaxi, everyone talks about robotaxi. It's nice, it's flashy, it's robotaxi, it's tech forward. Every city, country wants to have that first in their city. But how we should see it is that robotaxi is a way to gain trust in the society. Europe has not seen autonomous vehicles on the streets like San Francisco does. We don't know how the public is going to react to it. I believe over-trust will be an issue, no under-trust. But however, the market will be introduced to autonomous vehicles through robotaxi. This will contribute to the OEMs, because now then OEMs will be able to learn from this tech and put it into the normal cars that we drive along the way, right? Then my normal car that I drive today can become autonomous in the future because it would have proved its purpose and so on. How it will save me, a mother of two, is that my weekends will be saved. I wouldn't have to take them to football practice and dance shows and whatever. I would like to attend but not be the one that is driving around. So it will save time. It will give back time to people and to the society. It will make the society more safe to drive around and live in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it completely changes the conception of what a car, what a vehicle is. It's not just, I think now as vehicles are becoming more connected, more autonomous, these things aren't just a way to get from A to B, but it's an extension of an office or a place to rest or a place to socialize. So it's really interesting to see the very conception of a vehicle change. I want to speak then about public opinion. Obviously, if you want to kind of prove trust, getting people on side is obviously very important. How are you at Bolt kind of educating people on the safety case for autonomy, and kind of bringing people into the fold when it comes to this new tech?
Good question. I was hoping you would question me on this. There are two customers today, okay? Or we believe customers king. There are two kings we are trying to pacify. One is the bureaucrats, basically. It's the politicians that are paving way to let's have automation in the streets. It's the people that are trying to make sure that this is a legal setup, it's a commercial setup, a viable setup in the society. That's a customer. And then there is the end customer that's going to utilize the vehicle. So what we have already started doing since the beginning of this Bolt Autonomous solutions, what we have started doing is we have met almost all city and country officials, ministers, transport ministers and so on, to understand what's their pain point. Because the whole point is, it shouldn't be like, we're bringing robotaxi, will you take it or not? No. So we are trying to understand, hey, what do you need? Some cities have bluntly said, we don't need robotaxi, give us robo-buses. They have said that, and that's okay. Then we wouldn't try to build something for that city which is not ready for it as well. And it's important for us. So we try to understand the pain point and identify the market need and only deploy in that level. So that's one way we try to gain the trust, and together with the citizenship program, we are able to deploy. The second is the end customer itself. So there are a couple of ways to do it. We have far too many ideas. We are engaging with universities that are working with it and so on. However, what is key is that once you deploy, say, a pilot, put out a vehicle there which can go autonomous, it's important to integrate to the ecosystem, that we should be able to give that to our Bolt existing customers and, hey, try it out at your own risk in the beginning, but there will be a safety driver in the car, so feel safe, but try it out. We have to get through the cybersecurity. We have to get all those things, not just about going A to B. So our strategy is that when we integrate or we deploy, we integrate it into the ecosystem. And like they call it friends and family, right? But the authorities that we meet, we have also told them, please choose your own ambassadors, public ambassadors who can be skeptics, who can be really tech-friendly people. Please choose yours. So we understand the demography of your market as well. This way, people will be able to experience the experience with having a safety driver and be safe still, but it will also be able to validate the ecosystem for it. So this builds trust and so on. And I don't know if you've been on an autonomous vehicle, you easily, within 5 minutes, you forget that this is autonomous. Only for 5 minutes, it's a big deal. Oh, this is how. So, but people have to get used to it. You have to just expose them to the society, to it, both sitting inside but outside also. The ones that look at those cars. Oh, is this going to be like a micro-mobility, so many scooters on the streets? Is it going to take over? No, it's going to be blending in into any cars that are. So both ways we have to build trust.
Yeah, absolutely. I went on my first Vivetha taxi a couple months back now and had my reservations at first. And it is unbelievable how quickly, when you experience the tech, I did feel very safe. So I think definitely exposure is key, and the kind of education. And I think so vital to kind of involve people and your customers in the conversation before you kind of shove it in their face. So I really, really appreciate that as an approach. Just moving now into kind of the last few minutes now, what is your vision then for the future of autonomous mobility? If we look forward maybe 5 or 10 years, what does that look like? Do you envision a hybrid network? Do you envision a full transition? Where do you see the kind of strongest use cases in the autonomous transition?
5 years down the line, robotaxi will be normal in Europe. Not just because we are doing it, everyone's coming to Europe. So we can clearly see that path happening this time, finally, in Europe as well. But like I mentioned, robotaxi is only a starting point. We have a new term for robotaxi, which is physical AI. Both the hardware and the software industry is going at rapid speed, that we will only see more automation in the world. And autonomous mobility, hopefully, I don't know 5 years, but sooner or later, people will be very comfortable not buying the second car at home in Europe, that this is more available. And I always say this, and this is our vision as well. For Europe, robotaxis are not here to cannibalize the public transport. If public transport is available everywhere, whenever we need, there will be no taxi operations today. So if we are cannibalizing anything, it's the private car segment that you don't have to own and operate 2 cars, 3 cars, 4 cars at home. That's the one we are getting at. So 5 years down the line, I think there will be less ownership of privately owned cars and more on mobility and shared mobility.
Absolutely. And then finally, what's kind of a key priority for Bolt as a kind of company, as an organization, looking forward into the kind of short, mid-term? What's on the horizon?
I think we are all set to deploy at least in 5 markets within a year, by 2027. That is a natural introduction into the ecosystem as well. It's not about, many have piloted, many have shown the vehicles can go A to B. When I say market introduction, that we will be operational in 5 different markets, understanding that and to be able to scale from there. For us, it's key that this is seen as a good thing for the society, not as a imposition to the society. So that's our vision. That's how we want to roll. And robotaxi will just pave the way for it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Vivetha. An absolute pleasure speaking with you. And I really hope you enjoy the rest of the show.